I am Jeff Biggs, and are we really 1 month away from the draft?
I am Marcus Mosher, and just like every other prospect, I'm in the best shape of my life.
I am Iisha Morrison, and I'm just happy to be back with the guys.
We are too.
Glenn Stretch Smith, and the price of doing business in the receiver world has officially gone up.
Spoiler alert.
How about them Cowboys? It's the Cowboys Squad. Everything Dallas Cowboys every week. Covering all the big hits and game-changing plays from America's team the way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Get ready and squad up. It's the Cowboys Squad Show, starting now.
As a drummer, it is always good to squat up and hit that rim and get this show started. Hello again, everybody. Welcome. As the Cowboys offseason rolls on, we are now 1 month away from the 2026 NFL draft. Can't believe it. But right now, we get to bring you another edition of the Cowboys Squad Show. This one brought to you by FanDuel, because during the tournament, FanDuel is offering $300 back in bonus bets every day for 10 days. So head to FanDuel.com to get started. We are getting started, and as always, we welcome, playing hurt today, the co-host of the daily Locked On Cowboys podcast, Marcus Mosher. Marcus, thanks for being with us, buddy, and always good to see you.
I said I'm in the best shape of my life, Jeff. What are you talking about?
That's right. We can hear it.
That's right. Battled the flu a little bit. We'll be good. We'll power through.
Right. Of course, Landon McCool will be back later in the week. And we get to say welcome back to Iisha Morrison. Good to have you back, Iisha. Looking strong.
Yes, thank you so much. Coming off the IR, I'm in my practice window, so y'all.
We're all beat up.
She'll be up. She'll be on the mound in about 10 days.
I'll make a big deal out of it. I'm just a practice squad guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we got former Cowboys coach Glenn Stretch Smith. Got some more color over the weekend. He is in rare midsummer form already, hitting the links. Love it. All right, we got a lot to get to. We got the very latest on the Cowboys, including an update on George Pickens and his status. But let's get into this right out of the gate, because Marcus, it's something we hit on last week, and I know that you and Landon already did as well. I think, Iisha, you've spoken about it too. But the Cowboys have a month to go until the draft, and they still don't have a Mike linebacker. And so they do have a few options, but from where they're sitting right now, which way do you think they're leaning?
Well, I mean, I think the good news is you don't have to play a game right now, so you have some time to figure out all these positions, right? But I think unless they grab a linebacker between now and the draft, I would almost assume that one of your first picks in the first round, are going to be a linebacker, because it's such a gaping hole right now. Whereas you need edge rush help, but I think you can get by with what you have. You need cornerback help, but you could talk yourself into being okay at that position. They just have one guy at linebacker, and that's DeMarvion Overshown, who cannot stay healthy. You've got to figure out a way to address that position. And maybe, I mean, we could talk about the guys that are going to be available in round one. I don't love all the options, but unless you go out and grab somebody here in the next 30 days, you're probably going to force yourself into picking one earlier than you might like.
Iisha, what about you? What are you hearing? What are you thinking?
We know at least that they're acknowledging, they clearly know that they need a linebacker. From the first wave of free agency to, us getting some of the reports that have come out as of late, it is a need. And I think that it's such a huge need. And hopefully Coach can expound on it a little bit more for the turning over of this defense. I think, I do think that, and Marcus, I wanted to ask you guys, with there being more nickel, how, we know they need more linebacker depth, but how much are they thinking they need if they have safety depth, depending on how that goes?
Well, it's a fair question, because I do think you're going to see some of these guys, like in the safety room, come down and play in the nickel spots. But but they don't have a guy that you feel good about on first and second down, coming downhill, taking on a guard, making tackles in the run game. I think you feel decent about Overshown as what he can do as, a will linebacker, or we'll see what he can do in this new defense, but it's not as big of a need as it's been in previous years, but it's also a huge need because you don't have anybody.
I just think that, like I said, I think installing this defense and what this defense is going to be, it's expected to be doing with a lot of the simulated pressures, dropping into coverage, so they're wanting to really marry the front end to the back end. I think whoever is going to be manning that mic is going to have to be like really tuned in and a leader and communicative. And I just feel like I thought that they would need to get a veteran in here for this transition to go smoothly or more smooth. What do you think, Coach?
I mean, my gut feeling is, and I don't know this, my gut feeling is that they overplayed their hand with Dean. I mean, I think they thought that was going to be their guy, Christian Parker coming from Philadelphia. I think they overplayed their hand here, thinking that if we can't maneuver the way we want to maneuver here, maybe he was the fallback guy, and of course he goes to the Raiders for basically the same exact deal that he had in Dallas. Do I think this is a deep linebacker draft? I do. I was talking to a couple of guys today who feel like that there really are some players in that 35 to 95 number that can fit this bill. Is that what you want to put on a first-year player? I don't know, but my initial response is that the one place you don't want to be in this draft is to have to do something. Because when you do that, I'm telling you, it's when you reach and when you get yourself in some real trouble. So, I have to trust in the process right now. And I do believe that there are still some conversations about a possible trade for a veteran guy. I have no idea. Who would I really think even fits the bill? I don't know, but I do believe that the Cowboys recognize where they're at, and they understand the sense of urgency for getting a guy at that position.
I agree.
Well said. Well, I think what you said, Iisha, I think asking a rookie to kind of step into that role, that's a big ask. I mean, I think we would all agree on that.
I didn't think that they were going to do that, but at the same time, Marcus which is the other side of it. Just playing devil's advocate to myself, is they went through. I mean, I think Coach is right about the Dean thing. Kind of feels like that's the drift, but they went through all these linebackers, didn't sign anyone. What if there is a guy that they really felt like, as they go through the 30 visits and all that stuff, what if there is a guy that they feel comfortable can handle that? Like, I mean, I'm not qualified to do that. Coach has done it, I'm sure. But like, what if they just feel confident in one of these rookies for real? And yeah,
it's tricky because
it's gross.
Well, and there's a couple of things. Let's use names because I do think that's helpful.
Okay.
If they're drafting Sonny Styles at 12, I think all of us would be on board with that pick, because you're taking an awesome player who played at a big time school, that's an elite athlete, who is, I think a lot of people think, is a top 5 player in this class, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're all on board.
Before you go through this exercise, is in your mind, is that realistic? Do you think he's there at 12?
I don't think he's going to be there at 12, but I don't think it's unrealistic to think an off-ball linebacker could fall a little bit in the draft. Just because I remember the 2018 draft when Roquan Smith was thought to be maybe that best player in the class, and he fell outside of the top 10. So it does happen.
I think you got to, before, I mean, I want to participate in the exercise. I think it's important that you look at the defensive needs of the 11 teams that are in front of you that are drafting. And I mean, I don't think there's zero chance that Styles gets past Washington. So I think and it doesn't mean that I'm trying to shoot down what you're saying, but I mean, in theory, you're sitting here today at number 12, and you're telling me Arvell Reese, Sonny Styles, Downs, or Delane. Let's just throw the 4 names out there that are probably going to have grades in that area. And where I sit today on the 23rd of March, I think there's zero chance any of those 4 guys are there.
And here's the thing I would say to kind of as a rebuttal. You are talking about an off-ball linebacker, a running back, and a safety. Those are 3 positions that don't carry a ton of positional value. And I agree, like these are probably 3 of the best 5 players in the draft. There's no argument. But when you get into these drafts, we always see wide receivers and offensive tackles go high because they're more valuable positions, right? And it's really hard to get those guys in the open market. Now, that doesn't mean that one of them is going to be available at 12, but would it shock me if Caleb Downs was there at 12, if Sonny Styles were there at 12? No, because we have lots of draft history that suggests safeties and linebackers just don't go very high.
Yeah, I think the thing about this draft is the fact that because offensively, some of the positions that, quarterback being one of them, this isn't a fantastic quarterback class. Obviously, the offensive tackles, all of those things, wide receiver is a little bit more rich, but I'm just saying like a lot of those offensive positions that normally are among these top, 10 to 15 picks. I think that people are looking at the fact that this is a more defensive rich draft and putting a lot of stock in that in comparison to the offensive side of things. But people are going to draft offense. People are going to draft offense. Like, yes, I do think that some of these guys, like, you mentioned Arvell Reese and some of those guys probably won't be there because they're just that good. But I'm not going to sit up here and act like there's not going to be people who want to get a tackle, because as you get out of that first 15, it gets very different, like even out of the first 20. So I don't know. Or wide receiver, like for that matter.
And that's the other thing. And we'll talk about receivers here in a little bit, but just draft those guys early because their value continues to go up and up and up.
Yeah.
But back to the original exercise, let's say it's not Styles at 12 and it's CJ Allen at 20. We might disagree a little bit on how to value CJ Allen, but this is somebody for most people is a second rounded graded player. If you look at the consensus boards right now, he's rated in like the 29-30 range. Is it worth overdrafting a linebacker at pick 20 because you have a need? Or are you better off throwing out a day 2 pick to somebody else that already has a veteran linebacker under roster or under contract that can come in and help you right away? That's the direction I would go. It sounds like that's maybe where the Cowboys are leaning. We'll see if they can get something done between now and the draft, because if they don't get it done, I wouldn't be surprised if Allen from Georgia is the pick at 20.
Is that because the outside linebacker coach?
No, I don't think it's just that. I think there's other parts of it where, I mean, look at all the Georgia guys that the Eagles drafted when Christian Parker was there. It's a very similar scheme, right? There's a lot of familiarity. He's also a traditional buck linebacker that can come downhill and make plays in the run game. I think he fits really well, but I don't know if that should be the pick at 20 either.
All right, so we talk about the trade.
What if the safety from Oregon is there and you still think that Allen would be there at 20?
You're saying
who are you going to overpay for?
You're saying you'd rather have. You're saying if Thieneman is available at 20, would you take Thieneman over Allen?
No, at 12. If both of them are sitting there at 12, who are you taking?
I mean, Thieneman's twice the player that Allen is. I'll just take Thieneman.
Yeah, I think that you get so much with
that's realistic. I'll participate in that because
I think he'll be there.
I do think that is realistic.
Yeah, and I'm good with that. That's perfectly fine. It just when we start talking about CJ Allen at 20 versus some of the corners that might be there, some of the edge rushers, that's where it makes me a little queasier than I already am, Jeff.
It's such an interesting thing too, because we would look at this linebacker class and say, like, this is a pretty rich linebacker class as you get into the second, fourth rounds and those things. But to come in and do what you gentlemen have just laid out, there's maybe 2 or 3 guys that maybe you feel comfortable with or more comfortable with being able to do that. And like Coach said, it feels like those guys might go early. One of them might be there though, at the very least.
So are you thinking then really the mindset should be if they hold the picks and they don't make a deal, you got to get the best players, not for need, and then after the draft you can kind of see where you're at and see what you can do, but take the best players. I mean that should be the goal.
Yeah, I guess it's
It
feels neglectful to not get this done.
Well,
I'm sorry.
I will say I disagree with necessarily just taking the best players, because I don't think this team should draft an offensive lineman in round 1, and there's a chance that your best player on the board is an offensive lineman. So you've got to be a little bit picky about where you're going.
All right, fair enough. We've heard different names over the last couple of months. We heard, remember Jonathan Grenard's name was up there, Alex Highsmith. Over the weekend, the new one was Jordan Brooks. I think Aziz Al-Shair with the Texans, but that one seemed to be squashed pretty quickly. Wondering, we haven't heard like a guy that's out there, Bobby Wagner. He's available, but he's there's nothing going on with that. The fact that we're not seeing any movement or activity on the free agent side, do you think they're just waiting to see what happens before the draft and see what deal they might be able to get that benefits them?
Well, Bobby ain't signing nowhere to about August.
Yeah, I mean, well, partly because Bobby Wagner couldn't cover you or Iisha. Like that's kind of where we're at right now with Bobby Wagner. I think you're right. He's going to be somebody that signs in August once training camp is over to a team that has a linebacker need. There's just no reason for Dallas to make that move right now. It just doesn't do much for you.
Yeah, but we haven't seen any linebackers go as of right now. I mean, I think the obviously the top guys have already gone in free agency, and we probably won't see any of these other guys signed till later, like Marcus just said. So the only way that I think that Dallas, gets anyone in here is it's gonna be via trade.
Mm-hmm.
So
I agree.
It's boring otherwise. It is kind of boring right now. I'm sorry, it's kind of boring. We're trying to make it fun. But this is quiet time. It's quiet time.
Yeah. Coach, what do you think? Do you think they should just wait it out and kind of see what comes their way?
No, I mean, I don't think they have a choice right now. I mean, they they played their card and they got trumped, and so I mean, I really don't think there's a choice. I'm from the school that they've made themselves this target of knowing that everything they've got to do is on defense, and I think that's a very dangerous position to be in, because let's just say, what if a running back, what if the number one running back falls to you at 12? I mean, seriously, you telling me you're not going to pull the trigger on that guy?
You mentioned the Commanders earlier, Coach. I thought that he would be on their radar, Jeremiah Love.
Yeah, according to Adam Schefter.
I don't know, but I mean, I do think that here's what I believe is the NFL is a copycat league. It is a plagiarism business. And I'll ask all of you, let's just throw it out there. If I took Seattle's defense, who they built that defense, free agency, draft, I put that defense, that same defense, and I put them in Tampa. I think Tampa's offense. You think that team wins the Super Bowl?
Yeah, probably.
Have a good chance.
Okay, so the point I'm making is when you shoehorn yourself into having to pick a specific position or a specific side of the ball, I'm telling you, I saw it done. I've seen it done. I've seen battlefield promotions and guys move up the board. I've seen you put the guys up on the board, and then you're sitting there and you're going over every scenario. And then you go home at night and you come back the next day and there's a guy moved 4 spots up the board for no reason at all. Just a battlefield promotion because you felt like, well, we got to have this. We have got to get ourselves in position to have that. And when you do that, I'm telling you, that's when you run into the most problem. Just put them up there, and if the guy, whoever it is, because somebody will fall, there'll be somebody fall. And I don't think, because of the business being a plagiarism business right now, I don't think it's a defensive guy. I don't. I think those defensive guys are going to peel off early right here. And when they do, you better be ready to pull the trigger if it is an offensive guy. And I'm not saying that it might not be. I don't know. I mean, if I knew that, I'd be out in Vegas and I wouldn't be crapping around here on this show. But I can tell you that the business is plagiarism. And right now, guys are wanting guys that can fly around on defense. And I think that's where you're going to – I believe that's where you're going to see early in this draft. I don't think one of those guys falls to you. I don't think one of those four guys, being the top corner in Delane, the top safety in Downs, or the two linebackers in Styles and Ardell Reese, I don't think they get to 12.
But don't the rest of the league know that the Cowboys was bad on defense last year? Like,
do they?
What
They
I'm saying
yeah,
is like the reason why you like don't want to have to draft for need is because a lot of it is like you don't want to have to show your hand. You don't want to have to, you're competing. Let's keep it a buck, right? But with them, everybody and their mama know that you need defense. So it's like there's no ambiguity here.
What I'm saying is,
I'm asking. Sorry.
No, but what I'm saying is you don't want to have to put yourself in the position where you pass on a really, really great offensive player because you have a need at defense.
All right.
That makes sense.
Let's I kind of want to go there a little bit. Let's do that when we come back, because I want to switch gears, talk about the offense and the very latest on George Pickens and how his life improved overnight. We'll do that when we come back. This is the Cowboys Squad Show. All right. Well, got to talk to you about FanDuel and what they've got going on, because the tournament is here and it's one of the best times of the year. Brackets, buzzer beaters, upsets, really nonstop action from tip to final cutdown. And right now, FanDuel is giving new customers a way to stay in the action all tournament long. You can bet up to $300 back in bonus bets every day for 10 days. That means 10 chances to stay involved throughout the entire tournament. You can mix it up however you want. Game picks, futures, or even same game parlays for bigger potential payouts. It's the perfect for the tournament, because every day there's something new, different matchups, new storylines, and more ways to get involved as the bracket unfolds. So visit FanDuel.com to sign up today. That's FanDuel.com to get in on the action. All right, we love FanDuel, and we love George Pickens, who, as we know, has been tagged. Sorry, Coach, and has until July 15th to get that new deal done. But in the meantime, the defending Super Bowl champion Seahawks wasted no time. They locked up JSN, making him the highest paid receiver, over $168 million over 4 years, $120 million guaranteed. And that, more importantly, resets the receiver market value at over $42 million per season. So, guys, I try to hit you with everything that's out there. Let's just start with where that number is, and then I'll bring it back to Pickens. What was your reaction? I know you guys hit on it earlier today.
Iisha, why don't you go? I want to hear your thoughts.
Well, my initial thoughts were good for him. Good for Seattle. Obviously, this is how it's supposed to be done. I mean, I know they got the money too, because they're not paying their quarterback nothing, but to get him, locked up, for him to come in and work. I mean, it was a pleasure to watch his film pre-draft and to see him develop and become, that guy that we thought he was going to be. So good for him. And also for the George Pickens side of it, if that's where we're going, is that where we're going?
Yes.
For the George Pickens side of it, it makes it a little bit more stressful. But if Pickens goes out and plays on that franchise tag, then he could be putting himself in position to do the exact same thing and just to reset it again, because that's just kind of how things go. But initially, I was happy for JSN because he earned it truly.
Yeah.
Am I crazy for thinking this shouldn't impact the George Pickens deal at all?
Because they're two different guys.
Well, I mean, JSN is a better player. He's coming off a Super Bowl win. His previous team didn't trade him for a 3rd round pick, right? Like it's different. And when we see the numbers, you see $42 million new money, right? Well, yes, that's true, but his new contract really starts in 2028. He still has 2 years left on his rookie deal, including the 5th-year option, which is 2 years, $26.5 million. So yes, it's $42 million, but that doesn't start until 2028. I don't think George Pickens can suddenly ask for, hey, I want 40 million starting in 2026. Like, it doesn't really work that way, right? I think the Cowboys are looking at it like, okay, hey, your franchise tag number is 26 million this year. It's 32 million for 2027. If you want to add new money at 34, 35 million a year beyond that, okay, that be our guest. But I don't think this suddenly is going to make it where, okay, now he's got to get $40 million a year on a brand new contract. Like, I just don't think that's logical.
I mean, that makes sense.
Coach, what do you think?
Yeah, man, I don't think that's. I think it's all about averages, and it's all about numbers, and it's all about what you put up. So I think somewhere is where he fits in that puzzle or in that trajectory of guys. I think that this, because JSN signed this deal, do I think that makes George Pickens a $40 million player? I do not. But I do think the price of poker went up a little bit because of just the averages of what guys are making now.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was going to say in response to Marcus is like, I get what you're saying as you lay it out and break it down in a sense of what JSN's, contract is, his rookie contract, how he's still on all those things. But I do think that, the market is the market a lot of the time. And if Pickens does, again, go out, bet on himself this year, stays healthy, plays well, it is going to be difficult for people to say that he doesn't deserve that type of money at that point. And he's having a second year of hopefully showing improvement in maturity that that you think a lot of teams are concerned about. Because at that point.
Yeah. And I was going to say, honestly, for most players, I advocate just going to get the big contract as soon as you can, right? Because, the quality of life difference between 34 and 40 million a year is not going to be drastic, right? At least for me. Again, I'm speaking just for me. But I think for Pickens, I think if he were to have another Pro Bowl caliber season, maybe he doesn't put up the numbers he had last year, but let's say it's 1,200 yards and 10 touchdowns. I think you would see teams way more likely to give him more years, more guaranteed money. And I think right now, because it's just been one season and because he was available to the entire league at this time last year for a top 100 pick and nobody wanted him, I think the market is more limited than what it would be for like someone like JSN. Everybody wants JSN. I don't know if everybody wants George Pickens.
All right. That's fair.
My question would be, what is it that you want that you need to buy that you can't get at 34 million that you need 40 million to get? What is it that you want? Seriously, what is it? That's kind of how I look at that. So what do you need that the other one is going to get you that is going to get you to that?
I can tell you, Stretch. Respect, right? And that's the thing across the league. If you can say that you're the highest paid receiver in the league or the second highest paid receiver in the league, that's what these players care about. And I get it. Like, you work all your life to become the best at the position. If you can tell everybody in the league, hey, I'm the highest paid at this spot.
Right, but he's not. But my point about George Pickens, he's probably not even the top 5.
But
I wouldn't go that far.
But I'm saying if he has another big year,
start naming them.
Right, like right now, you're going off of how they played this year, based off of how they played this year.
Right now.
Oh, it got to be JSN. Pickens is maybe
Chase,
second or
Puka,
third.
CeeDee
Chase,
Lamb.
Puka. I would. Who would be the third? The fifth. If you had to get a fifth win.
I'd still put him on Ross St. Brown ahead of him.
He's
Justin
at least in
Jefferson.
the top 5, top 6.
I
think that Pickens had a fantastic
you could
year.
name 6 or 7.
Yeah.
So why would he? Cut it however you want to. But so why would he feel like he He knows that. Those agents know that.
Oh, I agree.
Where he stacks in that group.
Well, that's what I was gonna say is that I do think some guys care about, I'm the highest paid, but to Marcus's point earlier, a lot of them are trying to get paid. You know what I'm saying? Like some of them aren't just fixated on being the highest paid. No, like they want to get paid. This is probably the biggest contract of their life, most of them.
But we also know that being the highest paid doesn't necessarily mean that you're the best player at the position. A lot of it just comes out to when your contract is up. But that's what Dak Prescott benefited from, right? Prescott, his time was up after Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, and he greatly benefited from it. So
it's why draw me off sides going down.
No, I'm not. But I think Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson are the two best receivers in the league. JSN is awesome. Do I think he's $4 million better a year than Justin Jefferson? No, I don't. It's just because JSN was drafted after those guys and got paid later. That's just, unfortunately, that's just the way the market works.
If you don't think it's anything to do with winning a Super Bowl?
Oh, of course it does. But I don't think. Do I think that Chase is a lesser player than JSN? No, I don't.
I think I might take JSN over JJ at this point.
Now.
Yeah,
I would, just because one had JJ McCarthy as their quarterback this year. That was all it was.
Okay. We'll see.
Hey, listen, we saw what Justin Jefferson did when he had Sam Darnold in
quarterbacks affect you getting paid too.
Oh yeah, that's why Justin Jefferson before this year was the all-time leader in receiving yards per game, all-time leader, and then he loses Darnold, and the numbers crash. Not surprising.
So I said that I try to hit you guys with everything that's out there. So this is not my take. This is not my thought or conspiracy or whatever. But one thing I have been seeing a lot of online lately, like the last couple of weeks, is this notion that the Cowboys are going to draft a stud receiver to replace George Pickens. So that the goal is to get a new young cheaper receiver and then try to trade him and help the team that way or move on in some way. You see that at all in any way?
Iisha?
I'm just envisioning somebody like making salsa and then pressing rewind and then getting all of being at the store, getting the ingredients all over again. It makes no sense to me. I mean, I will say from the wide receiver position, you did just lose Jalen Tolbert. I know that nobody cares, but Ryan Flanoy is still in a developing phase. Yeah, I'm not saying I don't think that wide receiver isn't something that Dallas should not be looking at. I want to make sure, Marcus, do you feel like that? I still think that they should be looking at wide receiver, but to get to be replacing him.
No, you should always be looking at receivers. If we've learned anything through this offseason process is that you can never have too many of these guys. And you get players like Jalen Waddle and DJ Moore getting traded for these massive trade packages. Mm-hmm. Alec Pierce signs for just under $30 million a year, and he would have been the third receiver in Dallas last year at best, right? I don't think it's the worst strategy in the world to draft these guys early, develop them, get 4 or 5 years of service, and then move on. Now, can Dallas afford to do that with how bad their defense is? We could have a debate, and this is why they should have been more aggressive in free agency filling these holes. But is there a chance that Carnell Tate is available at 12, who's, to me, the best receiver in the class? I think so. And should they take him? Again, we could debate, but man, that's an awesome, awesome player that you would be passing up at one of the most valuable positions in the NFL.
I mean, hell yeah, you better take him if he's there. If you've got him up there and he's there, hell yeah, you better pick him.
So you're gonna be another. So I mean, but I'm saying so if they can't fill, they're not gonna be able to fill all these gaps on defense. But say the board does fall more offensive, and you end up having to do that, are you just gonna be a score all the points offense again?
This is why I hated their free agency period. Right?
I'm about to cry.
Because
make me cry.
If they would have signed a Kobe Dean and let's say one more quality cornerback, we could be having this discussion about, hey, you just draft the best available player at Tate, and then you figure out the receiver position a year from now. But because they have so many holes on defense, it almost makes it where you can't draft a player like Carnell Tate if he's available at 12 because the needs are so prevalent.
Well,
put themselves in a
you
really
don't,
bad
you're gonna set
situation.
your organization farther back.
Right, and that's the problem.
You're the race car that is out of gas. And everybody's going,
and this is how bad
you're just
teams
out of
continue
gas.
the cycle. Yep.
I think at the very least, Dallas needs to, as they're trying to do right now, looks like they at least need to tackle linebacker or defensive end. They have to supplement one of those spots. I do believe if they do supplement one of those spots, I think they help themselves out with the Kobe Durant pickup, and then what was the other gentleman's name from Denver?
PJ Locke.
PJ Locke.
Yeah, PJ Locke. I think that they help themselves in the safety room, in the corner room. I'm not as stressed out about those. To me, it's really linebacker and defensive end. I would feel so much better if they were able to acquire somebody from either one of those positions going into the draft, because I think I would feel less like what you gentlemen are talking about then. Personally,
It's all come back full circle. Like we kind of started the show wondering, what do they do if there's some offensive talent there? And now here we are.
Should have just
watch
kept
them
Mike
do
out.
it.
It would have been fine.
Watch them do
Right.
it too.
All right, when we come back, want to talk to you about that number 12 spot and kind of get the latest. I know we're in full draft mode right now, but I want to weigh in on what you guys are thinking and what's standing out to you. Also, as Iisha mentioned, they're doing the visits and the pro days and all of that, so we'll get into that as well. Thanks for being with us. This is the Cowboys Squad Show. Let's talk about 5-hour energy, because we like to call it welcome to the 5-hour energy flavor draft. 18 different flavors to choose from, including new options like confetti craze, fruity rainbow, or cotton candy. There is something for everyone. The board is set, the flavors are ready, and you get your number one pick from the 5-hour energy flavor draft. So here's what we do, and this is what we want to let you know, okay? 5-hour energy shots give you a boost with 0 sugar, right? They have a lot of upcoming flavor innovations planned, and for a limited time, 5-hour energy, if there's a flavor that you'd like to see come back, you can look into that as well. But look, here's the thing to do. Find your new favorite flavor of 5-hour energy, available online at 5hourenergy.com or at Amazon. All right, we're back. Cowboys Squad Show. That is the co-host of the daily Locked On Cowboys podcast, Marcus Mosher, Iisha Morrison, she's all over the place, and former Cowboys coach Glenn Stretch Smith. All right, so right now, Cowboys sitting at number 12. Marcus, I know you and Landon have been in full draft mode. As you've gone over it and really dug into it, and you too, Iisha, but as you're breaking it down, going over different scenarios, what's anything that seems to be a common theme, anything standing out, maybe anybody grabbing your attention that maybe you weren't thinking of before you started the process?
One of my favorite things is, Jeff, is that we fall in love with these players in January and February. And I remember back in January, it was, okay, Sonny Styles, if he's available at 20, that's the pick. Mansour Delane, if he's available at pick 12, that's how you got to pick. And then we get closer to the combine, and Sonny Styles is in every single mock draft of the Dallas Cowboys. He has a huge combine, and now there's no chance he gets there. Mansour Delane runs a 4.39, I believe it was the 40-yard dash today at LSU's Pro Day, and now there's no chance that he's there, right? So this is part of the draft cycle, right? Is guys that we love keep shooting up boards, and you never think they're going to fall to you at 12. But as of right now, I think there is a scenario that's playing out where maybe your top targets, whether that's David Bailey, Caleb Downs, Mansour Delane, and Sonny Styles are all gone by 12. Where do the Cowboys pivot? Do they go to the safety room, and do they draft someone like Dylan Thieneman, who checks a lot of boxes? Do they look at linebacker and draft a CJ Allen much higher than anybody has them projected? Or do they simply just sit there and draft the best player available? Maybe it's a Spencer Fano, maybe it's a Francis Moinoa from Miami. I will say the more that I look at this draft, the more I feel like the Cowboys are going to bail out of that 12th pick. And maybe they're going to have to take 75 cents on the dollar, 70 cents on the dollar to trade back. But I think it makes the most sense for a team maybe that has a wide receiver need to jump up to 12 ahead of the Rams and get one of these premier receivers. And for the Cowboys to drop back, add another day 2 pick, and then see what's available at 17, 18, 19.
I mean, I think that's exactly what's going to happen. I think
Coach has been saying that for a while.
I believe you're going to see one of those offensive guys will be there at 12, and I believe their phone will blow up. That's what I think. That's exactly where, and I think when the phone blows up, you make it expensive as hell for somebody to go up and get the guy they're in love with. Because I do believe that. I mean, there's a possibility that one of those offensive guys will be there. I'm just from the school, from studying this and from knowing what a plagiarism game this is, that I think you're going to see guys draft defense and get after defense early when you see the teams that are in front of the Cowboys. So with that being said, I think it's absolutely a possibility that at 12, one of those big-time offensive guys – I don't think it's the running back, because I think the running back is better than the back that went at 6 last year, and significantly better.
I agree with you on that, yes.
And so with that being said, I don't think where Genty went at 6 a year ago, I don't think Love gets to 12. But if he does, hell, that's what you want to happen from the Cowboys standpoint, because then you're going to have multiple takers who are going to want to jump up, and you make that pick expensive. And now all of a sudden you can address, I think, multiple needs.
Well, let me ask you this, Coach, though. I agree with you on Jeremiah Love. He's an awesome prospect. I think he's a better prospect than Ashton Genty. But I don't know how many teams would be wanting to trade up for a running back. And when you look at those teams in the teens and the early 20s, most of them have their running back situation, filled out. Whereas I think there's a lot of teams that need receivers. And if it's somebody like, I'm going to keep mentioning Carnell Tate because I think he's the cleanest of all the receivers. If it's Carnell Tate at 12, I think you could have 6 or 7 different teams interested in him because
I'll play the game with you, whoever offensive player is.
And if you want the Cowboys to trade down, I think it's a receiver that you want to be available when they're on the clock at 12. That's my point.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm simply making the statement that this running back is significantly better than the guy that went 6 a year ago. Whether you think or don't think, or anybody does or doesn't think it's running back, that guy's a bell cow. I mean, he is a franchise back. And so, my gut feeling is I hope both of them are there at 12. I hope both of them are there at 12 because your phone will blow up. And now you are, and that's how you're either the damn hammer or you're the nail. And when your phone starts ringing a bunch, you're grabbing the hammer. You ain't the nail anymore.
No, I agree. I think that you want a wide receiver to be on the board because, like we talked about, I just don't think I don't think anyone is in need of a tackle that bad, and to that extent. But I will say a trend that I have seen as of late, especially from some of the bigger media draft guys, is that corner from Tennessee, Jamar McCoy, being mocked to the Cowboys repeatedly, and that is becoming something that we are seeing often. And I just wondered how you gentlemen felt about that.
So I believe Tennessee has their pro day this week. I'm trying to confirm.
It's a big deal.
So yeah, Tennessee's pro day is later this week. Sorry, March 31st. So we've got a little bit. Mm-hmm. If Jamar McCoy doesn't participate in the pro day on March 31st, I think you can absolutely cross him off the board because that means he skipped out in the Senior Bowl, did not play the 2025 season due to the injury. So skipped out in the season, didn't play the Senior Bowl, didn't do anything at the Combine, didn't do anything at the pro day. We know how the Cowboys feel about redshirt players. Jerry Jones told us as much. I just don't think they're going to draft a cornerback that hasn't played in that long. I mean, maybe they'll surprise me, but he's a guy that I know is being mocked a lot to Dallas. I just wonder if that's just a lot of times mock drafters putting him inside the top 15 because they know he's going to go high and the Cowboys have a cornerback need rather than it being a good fit.
Yeah, from what I understand, he has still got some medical. There's some medical questions there. I don't believe there's any chance at I mean, I think and you'll know when it's pro day, but I think there's a chance here that there's a really good chance that's not happening at 12.
Interesting. I feel like from my understanding of things and different stuff is that there's a lot of mixed things, I guess, that's going on. I'll say that as much. And with the Jamar McCoy thing as a whole, we've talked about his pro day is huge. He is going to perform. He is going to work at his pro day for sure, though.
He needs to. Honestly, he needs to do something because there's just no way that at this point you can avoid it.
So with all that said, I'm wondering, like, with where the Cowboys are sitting, that maybe they've made some calls about maybe moving down, maybe making a deal with one of their picks to get a starting linebacker, but maybe they want to wait. Maybe they want to wait and see what happens.
You don't want to make any calls. You want somebody calling you.
Yeah.
You don't want to be the buyer at this point. You want to be the seller.
Yeah. So maybe they can make a move and get a linebacker at the same time. 2 for 1. Right?
Wouldn't that be fun? It'd be great.
All right, let's take our final timeout when we come back. Our final thoughts and final segment on the Cowboys Squad Show. All right, let's talk about Indeed because we all know about it. Workplace chaos, deadlines stacking up, and the inbox overflowing. And the one position you have to fill is still sitting open, right? We're talking about that today. And when the pressure is on, you need to get the right hire. This is a job for sponsored jobs. Indeed, sponsored jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for. Skills, experience, location. So you're not just hoping the right candidate stumbles across your post. And here's a stat that says it all. In the time that we have been talking, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed. That is according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with Indeed sponsored jobs. And it's real simple. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help you get your job the premium status that it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now. Support our show by saying that you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. Okay, final segment of the Cowboys Squad Show on this Monday night. Marcus Mosher, what do you and Landon have coming up the rest of the week on the daily Locked On Cowboys podcast?
Yeah, so first of all, we're going to talk about some of the pro days that happened today and some of the ones that are coming up this week because they have a big impact on what the Cowboys are going to do early on in this draft. We'll also touch on the George Pickens news, so make sure you guys listen to that. And then later in the week, we're going to talk about some more prospects that are maybe going under the radar a little bit that the Cowboys could consider at pick 20, including Malachi Lawrence, a pass rusher from UCF. Yeah. We're also going to talk about some more options and edge rushers that are going to be available on day 2 in case they don't get the guy on day 1. So make sure you guys check that out.
All right. Iisha, how about you? I know you guys you're diving into everything on your shows.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have the stack with Brian Broaddus and Zach Wolchuk. I think that it will be dropping on Thursday, and then also on Saturday. So I don't know what we're talking about this week. Probably talking about these pro days because pro days are really important now.
Yeah. So So they're underway, and also the visits are underway as well. And the Cowboys get every team gets 30, right?
Mm-hmm.
So do they keep, I mean, do they publicly, is there,
they're not public, but we'll get you all 30 of them. Don't you worry. We'll
Nice.
They're not public, but we find out.
Nice. That's what I want.
Players also like to tell you where they're going. So, I mean, if this used to be a really hush-hush thing like 5 or 6 years ago, we're going to know this whole list in the next week and a half.
Okay. And is there a point in April when they like to be done with everything and cut it off as far as pro days?
They usually like to have them done by the end of the second week of April, if not sooner, just because at that point they want to have all of your evaluations done. They want to start, making phone calls about trades. They want to be building their board, getting into these simulations. But yeah, generally by the second week of April, they want to be all done with these 30 visits.
Now, are the visits the same? Can you work out at a visit, or is that separate? Or can you just do a visit without the workout? Can you do both?
I don't believe you can work out anymore. Is that right, Iisha?
Coach, the last time I checked, it wasn't something that was happening like that anymore.
Yeah, no, it's not working out. It's more the mental side, the visiting side, those kind of things.
Okay, so the only workouts are at the pro days.
Yeah. There will be a couple players that schedule private workouts, right? But that's not part of the 30 visits. And really the 30 visits are, hey, get them in your building, have them talk to positional coaches, have them meet some players, tour the facility. That's really what it is. It's more of a get to know you phase. And the guys that the Cowboys bring in, they're not all 30 guys are going to be ones that they're interested in necessarily. It's guys that they're maybe need to get some more information on, or maybe they want to get another medical check, or they want to see how the personality would fit. Don't just assume because the Cowboys are bringing in a guy for a visit automatically means that he's on their short list of guys they're targeting in the draft.
Now, I don't know if y'all are confused with this or not. They will have, Jeff, they'll have a Dallas Days workout, but that's more, for free agent, last round guys. And they have to be from, a certain radius from around the Metroplex. And when those guys come in, they'll work those guys out a little bit.
Is that more like a tryout?
Well, no, they just utilize it as it's just another tool. It's another opportunity
to try out. But I mean, they're they're going to look at them run and do those kind of things, throw, catch, that kind of stuff.
Okay, right on.
And I believe I have their Dallas Day list of guys that are going to be available. And I believe Anthony Hill Jr. from Texas will be one of the Dallas Days. Most of the first and second round guys that are there aren't going to be working out. It's really for like day 3 guys and undrafted free agents that, hey, you have them work out and you talk to positional coaches, and hey, if you don't get drafted, make sure you call us the moment the draft is over and we'll work out a deal.
Yeah. And Dallas is one of the more aggressive teams in undrafted free agency. We see them go out every year and go pick up guys. So, Dallas Day is kind of a big deal for those guys.
All right. So we kind of started the show of, okay, the Cowboys still have this need at linebacker. I feel like I say this a lot, but I think it's important to say it. And that is, I mean, if we're talking about this and we're kicking it around and we're saying, man, I wish they would have been able to do this, or they would have been able to do that, but they didn't. Clearly the Cowboys and Will McClay in the front office, they're kicking all that around and they're trying to come up with a way to salvage this and find a way to make it a plus as they head into the season. Just from our vantage point, it's hurry up and wait, right? We got to wait now for the draft. We're in draft mode, and then we'll kind of see what happens draft night and then maybe afterwards.
This is one of my favorite times of the year, Jeff, because this is a silly season when it comes to the draft, right? You start hearing guys like, hey, Ty Simpson might be the best quarterback in the draft, or hey, this guy's going to fall outside the top 20 picks. And it's all nonsense, but it's all so much fun. And this is partly why I enjoy the draft process so much.
I'm glad that you find it humorous because it get on my damn nerves.
Well, I mean, I find it funny because it's so easy to sift through some of this stuff. Like if you just do an ounce of research, you can see where some of this stuff is coming from. But every once in a while, there'll be a little news or a little tidbit that comes out that makes you think. And I remember, but give credit to somebody Todd McShay last year said, hey, there's no chance the Giants are drafting Shedeur Sanders in the first round or second round. And that was considered a big deal at this time last year. We didn't know that Shedeur Sanders was going to fall all the way to the 5th round. But I think there are some things that will start getting leaked that will have a big impact on the draft.
Where Marcus, where'd you go to college?
Edinburgh University, baby.
Did you find yourself scheduling your classes around so that you could hear like sand through the hourglass? So are the days of our lives.
Of course I did, baby. And then there's Passions on at 2:00 Eastern time. Yeah, it was General Hospital. Loved them all.
Y'all are a mess.
That's it. That right there tells you all you need to know. You
want to make sure I'm back by that 1 p.m. Eastern time slot.
Just so you could hear it, like sand through the hourglass.
Y'all's friendship.
See what Stefano was up to. I got it.
Yeah. I did it. I can tell you, I did it around the Gong Show. I wanted to see my man Chuck Barris. That's where I wanted. I wanted out of class by 10, so I could see. I could check out the Gong Show.
I don't know, just invite each other over to each other's house and show each other your yard.
I didn't say I wanted to have a chili dog. I said that's just. I mean, it's obvious that he likes the drama of it. So, I mean, you just kind of go down that street with it.
Iisha Stretch shows me a picture of his pool every other day. What are you talking about?
I believe it. Like, I feel like y'all would have a great time just spending time and hanging out.
See, now you're wanting to be Chuck Barris. You're trying.
No, I don't even know who that is.
Yeah, you're trying to set up some sort of an afternoon meeting.
No, I don't even know who that is.
Obviously, I got it.
Well, rest in peace, Chuck Norris as well. You made me think about Chuck Norris.
Chuck had one of the great lines of all time in one of his movies. I think it was the USA movie. He said, "I'll hit you with so many rights, you'll beg me for a left." That's a good line.
That's actually a good line.
Great lines.
It's really good.
We have not heard anything on Max Crosby at all. Like zero, except his posts just like saying he's ready and he's a Raider.
He's going to be a Raider this year. That's, I think, the end of it. I just don't see any team trading for him until we actually put the pads on and start playing football here in September.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that they want to, there's a lack of synergy for people wanting to put stuff out there right now. I'm just from the school that, did he or didn't he flunk the physical? I mean, obviously there was a red flag that was run up, and I think he's going to go back and be a Raider. And that's, you know what, they're in a good position, and now they need a quarterback. And to me, I don't see any chance that Dallas would throw the kind of what I feel like it would be number at the Raiders is going to make them get off of Max Crosby.
This is a whole nother situation, just because I want to say it to you guys. Are you guys worried about what's happening at the quarterback position right now? Are you guys worried about no, I'm talking about the NFL in general. Are we worried about the lack of sustainable development right now, and the fact that these next two drafts are not necessarily good quarterback? I mean, like, just the fact that some of these quarterbacks that are in the market right now are starters.
Not for me, because the Cowboys have their quarterback. I
know, but I'm saying as football overall,
yeah,
Coach, are you concerned with where?
I mean, I would say that I'm more concerned about, like, why can't defensive backs backpedal? Why does Ravel have such a hard time coming in here and understanding how to pedal? Why do some offensive linemen play 3 years of college football and never get in a 3-point stance? Everything they do is out of a 2-point stance. I mean, I think there's definitely, if you're asking, Iisha, is there a need for a developmental situation? 100% there is. But, until, in my mind, I mean, we can start opening a whole nother can of worms here. But, I mean, until they change the portal and how many times you can go in and out of this portal and when you can transfer and, the lack of development, because college football always has been a minor leagues for the NFL. And right now they're not doing a very good job.
It doesn't feel like that anymore.
Getting guys ready for the next level.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I was really asking. All right, let's go.
Absolutely, there's some truth to that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to bring y'all down and stuff.
No, that's okay. That's all right. We will leave it there and we'll bring that back at another time. But as always, thank you to all of you for listening and watching. And Marcus, Iisha, Coach, always a blessing to me to get to work with you. Have a great rest of the week. Again, Marcus and Landon, you're coming up the rest of the week. Check out Iisha on her shows, and we will be back with you again a little bit later on Thursday night because we've got the Rangers baseball, their opening day. But we'll be back this week. And again, thank you for being with us. This has been the Cowboys Squad Show.